Today, we've got somebody back on the show who is going to talk about some of the fastest growing marketplaces in the world for Amazon. Amazon UAE and Amazon KSA. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Helium 10's got over 40 tools for e-commerce entrepreneurs. I know how overwhelming it might seem to try and figure out how you're going to learn how to use everything, or maybe even to know which ones you want to get started with. So for a completely free course that's going to guide you through learning everything you need in order to become a Helium 10 expert, visit the Helium 10 Academy. That is h10.me/academy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Serious Sellers Podcast by Helium 10. I am your host, Bradley Sutton, and this is the show that's a completely BS-free, unscripted, and unrehearsed, organic conversation about serious strategies for serious sellers of any level in the e-commerce world. And we are going on the opposite side of the world today, coming to us live from, I believe, Dubai. We've got Krystel back on the show. How's it going?
Hey, Bradley. Very good. Thank you so much for having me back. Very excited to talk Amazonian with you.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. You know, I'm hearing, feeling the nostalgic vibes. I'm hearing my, I'm not going to call this the original Serious Sellers Podcast studio, because when we first started, we were in another, during the podcast, we were in another small WeWork office way back in the day. But this was our second ever podcast studio. I'm here in Irvine, California at our original Helium 10 office doing some meetings this week. So not in my regular studio, but you are, you've been in Dubai how long now?
I officially moved to Dubai in 2019. Myself and the company,
okay.
We moved to Dubai in 2019. So not a very long time.
All right, about the same time since I've been in this office here. So if you're looking for Krystel's backstory, we're not going to go too much into it today. You can go to episodes 304 and 376. She was on, so just h10.me/304 or /376, and you can see a lot more of her backstory there. But today I wanted to catch up, because now it's pretty much it's 2024, and we are in a new world where Amazon is opening up again to other marketplaces. There was a time where it seemed like it wasn't really opening up to new marketplaces, and there was a time where there was just booming, opening up in UAE and Saudi Arabia and other places. So I wanted to kind of see what's going on in that region. So first of all, in that area, it's not just Amazon UAE, but what are the other main marketplaces in your region over there?
If you are a seller that's based or you launch on Amazon in the UAE, you're not just serving the UAE customers, but you're serving UAE customers, Saudi Arabia, Oman, Kuwait, and most notably and recently Qatar, which became quite a popular country because if you're soccer fans or World Cup fans, then that's a really cool country. So yes, as a seller, now you could just send your products over to Amazon in the UAE and you'll be able to access all of those countries as well.
Now, which token is that connected to? Because for example, if I'm selling in Amazon USA, that's the North American token, but it actually also includes, Mexico, Canada, and actually Brazil. If I'm selling in Singapore, that's part of the Asian token, includes Japan, and then there's Europe, which just with the once I'm in one marketplace, I'm in all of the others. Now is that region connected to Europe? Is it connected to the Asian marketplace, where as long as you're selling there, it's pretty much just a few clicks, and then of course your business information, where I don't have to apply from scratch, or is it its own separate entity?
It's really cool that you brought this up. So let me just clarify again. Amazon doesn't have an Amazon, unlike in Europe, where you have, for example, Amazon Germany, Amazon Spain, Amazon France. Amazon still only has operations in these three countries that I mentioned. However, they do, you as a seller, it'll be much easier for you because you can just simply have your products warehoused in the UAE and sell them all across the rest of these countries that I just mentioned as well. Amazon has its own entity for the region dubbed as Amazon Middle East. So it is part of your global marketplaces for anyone that is currently an Amazon seller. You could just log in, add a new marketplace, and you'll find the Middle East, and you'll find 3 countries under the Middle East: KSA, UAE, and Egypt. You will not, unlike North America, you'll not be automatically, not all 3 markets are going to be automatically, you're not going to be enrolled in them. You're going to have to enroll in them separately.
I think as far as Helium 10 is concerned, it's tied to one of, if it's its own region or tied to another place, I'm not 100% sure.
You guys are tied to Europe.
That counts, like when you're...
Yes.
Oh, tied to Europe. Okay, because that's important for some customers, like, or anybody who uses software like Helium 10. Everybody does it the same way. Like, they count like how many marketplaces you're in, not necessarily by each marketplace, but by the token. So, so like, for example, at a certain level of Helium 10, if it says you're allowed to connect 2 tokens, it doesn't mean just like 2 marketplaces like US and Canada. It actually still counts for 1, even Mexico and Brazil. And then if you're in Europe, that actually counts for 2. So I think what you're saying is like, hey, if you are selling in Europe, or whether you're not selling in Europe, it counts as just 1 token. So you don't have to like get another Helium 10 account, guys, to be able to access our tools for the UAE marketplace. Now, how's it been? UAE is now, been there for a few years, Amazon UAE. Is that the number 1 grossing marketplace from the ones that you mentioned, or has Saudi Arabia come up, or what would you say?
So let me give you some numbers, which are quite interesting. I'm looking at my phone because I have like these pictures of us in the actual event, so that I just mentioned. So if you look at all of the stats coming out of the region, you'll find that the numbers are really promising. Just as a backstory as well, the region isn't that big population-wise. Like, the whole of the Middle East is probably the same population of just the US alone. So this is not a very big market. So these numbers, which you might not consider very big if you guys sell in the US, but based on the population, it's quite interesting. Seeing that 2 of the strongest countries when it comes to e-commerce are really just the UAE and Saudi, because they have also the biggest population. But what's estimated to sales in e-commerce are estimated to reach about $56 billion in 2025, which is a really good growth and a really big spike. Very interesting. But that's e-commerce sales in general. Now, Amazon in the recent year, what they shared during the event was what they saw in 2023 was a 49% sales growth on Amazon UAE, and a 65% sales growth on Amazon KSA, which is quite interesting. The reason why I think KSA is picking up slack.
I know what it means, but just let everybody know what you're referring to with KSA.
Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Sorry. Yes. So it's Saudi Arabia. So the official or the shorter version of saying Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or Saudi Arabia is KSA. I
knew that, but like, I think there's a popular YouTuber with that name. So like some people might have gotten a little bit confused, but yeah, just making sure we're all on the same page. Perfect.
You're right.
KSI. There you go. Okay.
You're right. So, so the sales growth is quite significant. It's simply because Saudi Arabia started a little bit later than UAE, Amazon-wise. That's what I mean, started. So Amazon launched in 2019 in the UAE, and then at the end of 2020, early 2021, which is obviously wasn't an easy time, they launched in Saudi. So that's why. Plus, Saudi Arabia, or KSA, is bigger. Like, it has 3 times the population of UAE. So I think it's natural to see those growth. Another number that I think would be interesting to share is something that they call the new to brand, which is very much a salesy type of platform, type of metric that they follow. Would like to dissect it with you a little bit further, Bradley. But what they said was the UAE is experiencing about 38% increase in new to brand customer growth, and Saudi Arabia is experiencing 67% in new to brand customer growth.
Interesting. So that's, some promising numbers there. Now, Does for somebody who's not familiar with the region and the operations there, is it very similar with how Amazon operates everywhere else? Like most customers will be able to get, same day or 1 or 2 day delivery, and there's FBA warehouses all over the place, and just like the system is exactly the same, or are there some intricacies due to local laws or the region?
That's a really good question. Actually, they are exactly the same. And I have another number to share with you if I can find it. It's based on what Amazon is trying, how Amazon is trying to expand in the region. What they're trying to do, and this is according to Amazon's metrics, not to mine, okay, not my metrics. What they've done is when it comes to storage. So let's dissect the storage part of your question. Yes, all FBA, everything is there, same day delivery, next day delivery, probably not 2 day delivery even. Quite good fulfillment centers and quite good logistic support. When asked, a lot of customers say the reason why they like buying from Amazon is primarily because of convenience and not because of price. So that's something to be aware of. It's not a very price sensitive market, but obviously everybody likes to get a bargain, Amazon currently is increasing its capacity in the UAE by about 70%. So they do have about 5 fulfillment centers, and they're opening up mega fulfillment centers in the UAE. I think they're positioning the UAE in particular to be the hub for the rest of the Middle East. They obviously also do have lots of storage warehouses in Saudi Arabia. I don't have numbers for that. And what they're looking to showcase but they call it showcase, but obviously they want to onboard new sellers. They want to reach 100,000 sellers by 2026, all focused on SMEs and not necessarily large brands and retailers.
Like when you look on the Amazon website and look up or Google Amazon Middle East, it mentions the 2 marketplaces we've been talking about, which is UAE and KSA. Now, what I don't see, there advertised at least is Amazon Egypt, but it mentions that Amazon Egypt was also something taken over from a souk website, or is it fulfilled from Amazon UAE? Is it completely separate, or what's going on in Egypt?
Egypt is one of the most interesting markets for me. Population-wise, it has 100 million people, so it is technically one of the biggest countries in the Middle East. And it's a very promising market. However, based on the logistics and how difficult it is for foreigners and foreign sellers to be able to export products into Egypt, what Amazon have done is they're just operating it as a local Amazon market. Meaning they're really focused on supporting manufacturers and sellers in the region sell on Amazon as an additional sales channel. And it's not really opened up to foreign sellers or to international sellers.
So then if I am a foreign or international seller, would you suggest I go at the same time in UAE and KSA, or is one a better starting point than the other?
That's a really good question. We get a lot of people reaching out to us for support, especially brands that want to, really come into the market. They're potentially already have feelers in the market. They know their product might work well. So we always tend to suggest that you get started in one market, which is probably the UAE. It is the most easiest market for you as an international seller to get into. Launch your products in the UAE and then sell on Amazon and KSA. What do I mean by that? So Amazon did recently release a program, which we are part of, and we support all sellers with that program called AE2SA, which basically means they want to support sellers try to expand from the UAE to KSA with support with things like logistics, shipment, product registration, and also being able to immediately open your global account from UAE to Saudi. The reason for this is because the laws and regulations in Saudi are quite difficult when it comes to importing products in particular, as opposed to the UAE. I think the country is definitely making a lot of changes. I'm sure you guys have heard a lot of things that are happening nowadays in Saudi. So it's a really, really interesting country. But still, when it comes to business, there's still this problem. Amazon really recognized this, and they saw that SMEs, which are the majority of Amazon sellers, aren't able to easily logistically get into Saudi. And that's why they thought the easiest way would be to just help and support them get from UAE over to Saudi with the help and support of Amazon.
I know UAE is in mainly English marketplace as far as the language that you make your listings in. What about KSA? Is it also English?
Honestly speaking, let's talk about the actual consumer first. Yes, Amazon in the UAE is, like you said, Bradley, because you have a lot of insights here. Yes, primarily English. You do all of your cataloging in English. However, in UAE, they did actually have to change the backend, the Amazon Seller Central, to be also in Arabic, because primarily the main language spoken in, well, the language in the region is Arabic, of course, but the UAE has about 80 or maybe a little bit more than 80% expats, all English speaking. So the market itself is very heavy in English, whereas in Saudi Arabia, it's the national, the actual language of the country, which is primarily Arabic. So you can list
then you need to create your listings in Arabic for KSA as opposed to English?
You have the option of creating it in both English and Arabic. You have the option of creating it in Arabic and getting Amazon to translate it to you in English, and getting Amazon to translate it in Arabic if you want to, or you can log in and tweak the Arabic content as well. In the UAE, we don't have that option. So we catalog all of our listings in English, and the website automatically just translates the language into Arabic. We don't have any input as to if there's anything wrong with the wording. So not a lot of work for translation companies here in the region. So it's going to be quite easy for you guys to be able to list your products for sure.
How about one success story each? You don't have to mention names or exact numbers, but one success story each from somebody that you know having success in UAE from outside of the country. Could be somebody from Europe, somebody from North America, who, maybe one of your clients or just somebody in your network who said, hey, let's try UAE. And then they were here and now they're here. And then also somebody living in UAE. Like I know we had somebody from your network last year on the podcast. I think he was originally from Serbia, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. But another kind of like success story, just to give people like an idea of like what the potential is of showing examples of real people.
Of course. I'm going to give you two examples of actual clients that we've worked with. Being an Amazon service provider, we work with a lot of key accounts from Amazon. So they send us a lot of great accounts that we can help, especially when it comes to strategies, which is what we love to do. What we see in the region here is that especially the numbers that I told you about earlier, new to brand numbers, those are primarily because larger brands in the Middle East, such as the recognized brands that you guys know and love, that we all buy, like Apple, Samsung, those types of brands, don't really take Amazon seriously in the region. It's just another sales channel for them. So that's why I think really savvy entrepreneurs are able to just come in, swoop in, and if you know how to sell to the Amazon customer these days, because you really know how to sell, you really need to know how to sell in this market, then you're able to pick up where these brands have left off. We recently actually started working with Prada sunglasses. We don't work directly with the Prada company. We work with the distributor of Prada right here in the UAE. And they are a prime example of a retailer that was just, they just have their products on Amazon because they need to. They don't have, their team is amazing, but their team has no knowledge of Amazon. They're just an e-commerce, like a couple of e-commerce people. They know a little bit about websites. They know a little bit about that, but they don't know a lot about the intricacies on Amazon. And because we made a lot of the changes to their listings, we were able to understand who their key client was. And mind you, Prada sunglasses are not cheap. Of course, you know that. Mm-hmm. So we were able to actually increase their sales definitely during Black Friday without doing like a crazy discount. But we focused a lot on some of the viral Prada sunglasses that were, viral now on TikTok. We were able to increase their sales by about 500%. And that's just during Black Friday. So what the key takeaway of this story is to understand that sales are there, customers are there, but it's also very important to understand how the customer operates on Amazon, how they like to purchase products, what are the buyer personas, and how to talk to those buyers. And still, large brands like Prada still need to do the same thing. Another story would be one of our brands that we recently, as of 3 or 4 months ago, we started working with. They are a dog treat company. They sell natural dog treats based out of Poland. They are one of the largest, they're a really, really popular brand on Amazon in Europe. We helped them from start to finish enter into Amazon in the UAE. It was quite difficult because they sell natural raw dog treats for them to enter into KSA. So what we did was support them, to get these products into the UAE is not really that complicated. If I were to compare it to any other country, they do require registration, things like makeup, things like supplements. Of course, these products do require registration, but the registration is quite simple. It takes about 15 days. It's very inexpensive to do, very easy to get done. So we did that. We launched the products. The pet industry here in the region is booming since 2020. Everybody now has pets. You see pets everywhere. But obviously, pet stores sell the same exact products because it's the same distributors. So customers who are looking for things that are different, looking for things that are unique, whether that be pet accessories or food or anything like that, opt to search for them on marketplaces like Amazon. And that's where this company was able to, really come into the region and be able to take a huge market share on Amazon. And now from Amazon UAE, they've also launched in KSA through the program that we just discussed.
Are there other kinds of selling that are having success in KSA and UAE? For example, obviously we mainly talk about private label here, but there's people who do wholesale, arbitrage. I'm not even sure if KDP is a thing over there, but are other forms of selling, like maybe entry points for people, or pretty much the way to go is private label in those marketplaces?
That's a great question. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I mainly work with private label. That's why I always have the private label lens on. I love private label as well. But yes, for sure, other selling models. And obviously, you don't need to pigeonhole yourself. If you are doing private label, you could also do reselling as well. KDP doesn't exist in the region. I would say retail arbitrage is quite impossible. Amazon is making it very, very difficult for sellers to just sell just products that they buy from stores. But reselling is available. And yes, we don't deal with, I don't have direct relations with anyone that does reselling, but I do, obviously, in our community meetups, I do meet a lot of people that are doing reselling, and they're doing quite well. The only thing that you would need to think about is you would just need a larger catalog. Because of the size of the market, you're not going to have products that are selling thousands of SKUs, thousands of units per day. So you would just need to think about expanding your catalog. And that's what you need to do also for private label. You just need to think about the strategy. You need to expand your catalog so that you can generate the revenue that you're used to generating in markets like the US, as an example. But yeah, reselling, very popular as well. A lot of people actually go to the local markets here because we have a lot of wholesale Chinese local markets. They pick up just generic products and they resell them. And a lot of people sell branded products. They go directly to the distributors, buy products, or they even buy them from recently, I met a great young lady. She started selling on Amazon. She buys all of her beauty products, everything from a distributor based in France, and she sells them. She sells like very recognized brands on Amazon in the UAE, and she's killing it. And she just started. She's in university, and she's doing really well.
Something that's, I think, a lot of sellers might wonder is, all right, this all sounds well and good. How do I get started? Well, using, a lot of your clients using Helium 10 to do product research and keyword research. And then what are they, for KSA, are they kind of just, using like brand analytics and things, since Helium 10 is not, doesn't have the research tools yet over there?
You guys have left us hanging in KSA, but you are promising me, Bradley, that soon, nobody knows when, we're going to have Helium 10.
Not promising.
Not promising.
But hey, I what I can promise is that if the demand is there, we'll make it. So like if somebody's listening on the show or some, your network want to make sure that Helium 10 opens up for KSA, you guys need to like make your voices heard and send customer service messages to say, hey, please, we need these tools for KSA.
I think that's what everyone did for UAE. I think your customer service team was like, help. So yeah, happy to do it in KSA as well. Let's go. The population is bigger, so I'm sure you're going to get 3 times the amount of requests. So yeah, exactly. We, almost everyone, because the Helium 10 is a really popular tool. You guys are doing great and we love it as well. Helium 10 is primarily the tool that people use in UAE. Unfortunately, there are no tools currently for KSA. For us, yes, we use brand analytics and such, but unfortunately for new sellers, they try to piece together any type of information that they can find. They maybe use Helium 10 for UAE and they're very similar markets, very, very similar type of customers. So yeah, they just try to make do with what they have.
For a foreign entity, what are the requirements? What is Amazon asking to set up the account? Like it is, if I'm a UK business, can I just use my UK corporation? If I have a USA LLC or I'm a private individual, do I just register that? Do I have to have like importer of record? Like Japan has. What are the obstacles that I need to think of before going ahead and getting started over there?
Obviously, like any region, I know I'm painting it as very positive, but I look at it as a great region, of course. But of course, just like any endeavor you guys want to do, you need to research it. Expansion is great, growth is great, but growth comes with risk and being uncomfortable. So if you're happy with that, go ahead and do it. I think, and I did say that with you on the earlier, maybe the first ever podcast, I think Amazon UAE is or the Middle East in general, is probably one of the easiest markets that Amazon have for you to set up as a seller. Absolutely, yes. You can get started with your LTD if you're a UK-based seller. You can get started with your LLC if you are a US-based seller. Absolutely no problem at all. And you can also register a company here in the UAE, avoid paying taxes if you like, and set up on Amazon in the UAE as well. But it is very, very simple. You just need a business license. You can even open a professional account without a business license. You can just use your ID. You just either need your business license and a copy of your ID, or you need your ID and a bank statement. Very simple, and you'll get it done. It's a very simple process to open an account for sure.
PPC costs, like usually I think in America now, people are like, oh my goodness, PPC is so expensive. But, in my experience, I've seen in some of the other newer marketplaces, it's usually lower. So is that your experience comparing it to like US and Europe, where the per click fees in UAE and KSA are a lot less than what somebody might be used to paying in other marketplaces?
I wish you didn't ask me this question. That's the only positive thing that's the only negative thing. No, PPC is actually quite expensive here, which is very, very odd. Yes, it's very interesting, very odd. However, this is where it becomes really interesting. Sponsored display ads are quite expensive. However, everything that you get as a trademarked or a brand registered seller on Amazon, such as video ads, banner ads, are quite inexpensive. The reason is the majority of sellers on Amazon, especially the new sellers, are not brand registered here in the market. However, so that's why that part of ads is quite cheap, dare I say. However, standard ads are somewhat expensive per click. Mixture of things. Obviously, everybody wants to advertise these days. You know how Amazon is, but also potentially because there are a lot of new sellers in the region. So when a new seller launches, they just want to get started. They really want to test out the product. They're willing to sacrifice that product. So they start bidding more than they need to. Guys, come on. So they start bidding a little bit higher than they should, which basically gets the PPC ads to be quite expensive. Well, based on how I think they should be. But yeah, it is somewhat high. It's not a cheap place to advertise for sure.
All right, sticking on the potentially negative kind of things, what are the, like, is the same kind of maybe black hat things happening over there, or is it maybe less? You know, like in American marketplaces, there's a lot of like maybe, listing getting hijacked, or a lot of fake reviews that maybe don't get policed, or people trying to do shady things. Like, again, since that's a smaller marketplace, is that not happening as much, you think, like some of these shady practices, or is it just as prevalent over there as it is in other marketplaces?
That's an interesting question. I think when it comes to reviews, no, not that much. When it comes to hijacking, yes. But listen, I get a lot of messages on Instagram. I get a lot of, we get a lot of calls to the office, people just asking us for help. And they say, oh, my listing got hijacked. And then I discover they're not brand registered. They're just selling a standard product. And I say, well, that's not hijacking. That's just another reseller. So yes, if I were to say, are there hijackers? Yes, there are. But mostly it's not actually hijackers. It's just, the standard business format of Amazon. But some sellers don't actually know that that's the case. When they launch on Amazon, they think, they own the product, they created the listing, and nobody else is allowed to sell it. And some hijackers that we have discovered don't do it because of black hat tactics or anything like that. They actually resell a product because they think they're allowed to. They think that's how it works. So we normally actually just communicate directly with the seller and we say, look, you're selling this product. We haven't permitted you to sell it. We don't even have to go through Amazon brand support. Like we could just talk directly to the seller and they're willing to just remove themselves. So it's not as prevalent and it's not as tough to, it's quite easy to handle for sure.
Before we get into your strategy of the day, couple things. So I'll be in Dubai on night of January 11th, 12th. So we're going to be planning, Krystel, something I maybe either, I'll probably come in too late on the 11th. So it'll probably be like a seller breakfast or something like that the morning of the 12th. So if people want to, first of all, just if they want to reach out to you at all to ask follow-up questions or get help with UAE, or they want to reach out to you to find out details about whatever we're going to do on the January 12th, how can they find you out there?
First of all, I'm really happy. You've got really great, loyal listeners, me being one of them, of course. But whenever we did our very first podcast, I got so many follow-up questions, and it's really, really exciting to see people excited about the potential of coming into the region. Please feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to help you in any question that you have, even if it's just a small question. The easiest way to reach out to us is through our official website, which is www.ASS, Amazon Sellers Society, middleeast.org. Or you could just simply find us on Instagram, Amazon Sellers Society, DM us, and we'll be able to help you with anything that you need. We will be, obviously, once we decide, Bradley, what we're going to have for breakfast and where we're going to have it, we will be announcing it as well. So very excited to see a lot of people come to the breakfast, a lot of Helium 10 a lot of Helium 10 people from the network also now live in Dubai, especially that, as you know, in January, the weather is absolutely wonderful. So I hope maybe even people will fly in, who knows, because the region is really quite close. So if you live anywhere close, you could just hop 1 hour and come to the breakfast. Yeah.
All right. Now, what is your, close this with a 30 or 60-second strategy of the episode. Go ahead and hit us with one.
So thank you. First and foremost, I always hear from new sellers, especially in the region here, that Amazon is such a saturated market. I think we've been hearing about Amazon being a saturated market probably since the beginning of Amazon. Tools like Helium 10 can definitely help you find really cool products to sell. But nowadays, the Amazon customer, the e-commerce customer, is no longer just build it and they will come type of customer. You really need to hone in on your sales skills. You really need to know how to build a framework for a product that customers can buy. We see it all the time. Customers come to us and they say, sellers come to us and they say, I'm spending so much money on ads and I'm not generating any sales. Is it a platform problem? What is it? Is it a product problem? And 99% of the time, it's because they don't know who their buyer is. They don't know how to talk to their ideal customer. So they're just listing the product and hoping for the best. Nowadays, that's not something that you can do. Make sure that you work on your strategy and you'll be super successful on platforms like Amazon or anywhere you decide to sell. And good luck.
Awesome. All right, Krystel, thank you for coming back on the show, and it'll be great to see you in person again. So my first event, I did an event with you a couple years ago in Dubai. That was great.
Yeah.
And I look forward to seeing you in person again, and wish everybody the best of success if they're expanding to Amazon Middle East. See you guys later.